Good evening, everyone, and good evening, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Diversity and Equity in Education. My name is the Diva D, and to my
Ready?
and I'm assuming that's April Cobb because I can't hear her.
I am April Cobb with April's Beauty Bar, and we're diversity and equity in education. And who is hosting us? That's muting me.
The person who is hosting us is our fantastic and phenomenal producer, Bianca Goolsby of Teaching for the Culture. And we are just so pleased to be here this lovely and fantastic Sunday evening because we know we couldn't compete with Super Bowl Sunday and all y'all, running up and down the field and streaking in pink thongs. So we just knew we had to come wait till this week to come back on. How y'all doing
Right.
this evening? How y'all doing this evening?
That's the question. How you doing in this getting ready to be third week of the Black History Month? Like the
Correct.
month has just
Flown
flew
by.
out on us. The
It,
phone is just gone.
it flew
I'm like,
by.
we already at the halfway point today.
We sure are. We sure are. Because we're just so consumed with everything else, including the Super Bowl that came to Tampa. But I will remind everybody that there is no school tomorrow, so please don't put your children on the corner on the bus, trying to pick, have them, hey, why the bus didn't pick you all up yet? Can we drop them off to the school? I see the lunch lady there. So that no. We're not gonna have that. There is no school tomorrow. Just like last Friday was supposed to be. See, April is just celebrating of her own. That's her own Super Bowl celebration right there. Right there she go. There she go. Are you doing the worm to hold on, is that the Cabbage Patch? What is that? Was that Running Man? Because last
All that
Friday,
just so we ain't got to be in the building. All of
all that.
that.
Because see, last Friday it would have been the fair day, but of course the fair was canceled. This Monday would have been a day, I guess, for us to update grades. Basically, it's a non-student day,
Actually,
or
Monday is President's Day.
it's President. Okay, that's right. It's President's Day. I
So
know
we would have
some
been off anyway. We would have been off anyway.
Right, exactly. So either way, you don't put your children on the bus stop. There will be no buses riding by to come get them. So no, that service will not be done for your children. But in the meantime, let's just go back to running back to the last weekend with the Super Bowl. I mean, they said not only it was a
Woo.
Super Bowl, but was a super spreader event because I saw folks all over without masks, without any kind of social distancing, breaking into the club, talking about I'm gonna get in this club. The videos, the videos I saw of people. April, what did you see?
I saw the same thing that you saw, no lies detected. But what did I do in response to what I saw? Was wore two masks this week and damn near suffocated myself on 2 or 3 days. So it was a very interesting situation because the spread is real because I seen the parties and the kids told me about the parties that they had at home and all the
Mm-hmm.
friends over and mama went to Super Bowl party. Like they told it all.
Oh yeah, and that's I'm so glad you made that point because parents, please keep in mind that your children coming to school to tell everything that you did over the weekend. They're not talking about themselves because remember they just travel in packs with you, but they're gonna talk about everything you did this past weekend. And so remember my eighth graders swear they grown, so a lot of eighth graders were absent that Monday after Super Bowl, and they were telling me they were out till 3 and 4 in the morning with y'all. They folks and them, because wherever mom and them went, they was going too. So they was in the street, not the street. I'm sorry, the street
Screens.
with their parents at 3 and 4 in the morning because they was celebrating the Bucks win. No, y'all ain't got no Bucks money, but okay, celebrate.
Roll them.
Roll the whole eyes. You can run them all across the screen too. I'm just saying, you over there celebrating because 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 from what I understand, black people spent the most money at the Super Bowl. No mind the rich folk. Rich folk have money, so they don't care about spending their money. But black folks probably spent the rent partying for the Super Bowl. I mean, let's put our things in priority, folks. I mean, let's do that. But also let's talk about things that since I guess our show should be called things that they don't mention on the news. So because we certainly know over the past week that all these folks came in from out of town, there was multiple shootings. Multiple shootings. Where that is on the news. It's quiet.
Yeah, like I'm really baffled by it
That's
that
quiet.
there is allegedly 15 shootings that happened up through the Super Bowl weekend. Now we do know that we were on a not a conference call, but a Zoom meeting with our mayor, and she had already shared with us about the 10.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 additional ones happened after we spoke to her.
Right.
And the question remains, what are we doing as a community collectively to be proactive for the matter and not reactive?
Right.
Because it appears that law enforcement just can't get a handle on this because of the diehard secrecy with the no snitching.
Mm-hmm.
Families
Mm-hmm.
are in fear of. I actually spoke to a friend on this past weekend that works at the at a no matter, a friend that works in a capacity to where they are able to interact with a lot of the families of those deceased young men. And the response was is that the families are fearful to come speak up about it because for one of the incidents, after the young man was killed and the funeral and all that stuff, they went back and shot up the mother's house and she had to go leave the city. Like she moved out of the city. So that makes you wonder, like, yes, families come forward, but then does that put them in a position to be targets? Because
Right.
it's not like on the movies they're gonna sit somebody outside your door and make sure someone's watching the house all the time. That's not realistic. So I understand, but in the same tone, the questions become: police officers sit on many corners to um, have a presence so
Mm-hmm.
that it
Deters.
hopefully deters the criminals, any type of criminal activity. Why aren't we doing that now? They do that for speeding tickets, like they put themselves in positions to deter that. So why aren't we heavily located in communities that is having this, high rate of gunfire that is taking the lives of individuals in most cases that are under the age of 25
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
majority Black males?
Right. And then also too, what are the kids thinking about? I mean, it's one thing that for the adults to constantly have communication about it, but what about the youth? I mean, one of the questions that I would pose to a lot of kids is like, what do you think your neighborhood should really look like? What do you think your actual community should look like in order for it to be productive? Because if you go to another neighborhood, you're seeing streets looking beautiful. Lights, the street lights are working. There's no trash in the streets. Every house looks like it's fixed. I mean, you have businesses that are flourishing. What's going on with your community? Why your community doesn't look like that? And have kids think about that. Those are questions I posed to them. I said, well, where do you live? Why does your neighborhood look like that? Do you have fear of where you live? Because it's like we're not. This is the next generation that's going to be taking over for us. After we leave this earth, this generation, we've left all either the property, the house, whatever left over for this generation. What do you think the community is going to look like if this is what they're doing to it right now? And how can we help them as young people see that, hey, it can't keep going down, it has to get better? But see, this is where we are lacking hope. Because if kids are going straight to crime and going straight to fast money and fast everything, that means what's the opposite of that? Where's the opportunity for them? Where's the hope? Because I mean, if I'm going straight to crime, that means I know I have not presented any other options. That's
And
part
a
of the
lot of
problem right
the
there.
youth, when those discussions spiral into the hallways, the classrooms, the cafeteria, when I dip my nose in the conversation, be like, but if all of that is happening in your neighborhood, why do you think no one is addressing the issues that are in position to do so? And their
Mm-hmm.
immediate response, as if they had practiced, for them to share their responses simultaneously, was because they don't care.
They don't care.
That's how the kids feel, that no one cares.
That's
And
exactly
then
right.
immediately they'd be like, we might as well join them. That's their mentality.
Yep.
So with that being said, it becomes a plague that we are visibly seeing come and just, take over the community. And then it goes back into why gentrification becomes so prevalent, because the individuals that are capable to come in and spend the type of money on these houses in the inner city now, which is so overly priced. It's almost what, $50,000 to $100,000 or more overpriced.
Overpriced.
Come in and start, to spiral out into the community, and then law enforcement comes. I seen a new media coverage that took place in December. Denise, mute your thing because it's echoing for me. I see the a news media coverage that took place in December where on Taliaferro and another street, I can't think of the other crossroad, where the young boys were riding the ATVs throughout the community. Now, there was this white gentleman and he was giving his full story to Rod Carter. And I don't remember what station he is on, but to Rod Carter. And I said, well, I be damn. These boys been riding these ATVs through these communities for decades. It just started. They've been riding over on Taliaferro, where the community was majority Black, for decades. And you found that newsworthy that now a Caucasian male is uncomfortable because he moved in a community that he was not familiar with the traits of it. That's newsworthy. Yeah, that's a problem right there. Because where's the news on the lives that have been taken in the inner city at such a fast pace to where now you can't even keep up with it? All you know is that another funeral is happening, another GoFundMe is put out there, another group of youth or I won't say youth, young adults are aligned with saying, I need to now respond in retaliation. But is anyone talking to them? That's the question. But I do find that very interesting that became newsworthy versus you out here in these trenches trying to talk to these people in the community, if willing to speak, to say how we can try to do something different. Because even with the walk that took place on, what was that? For MLK, they had to walk over to the Yet Center from the library off of MLK as well. But what happened? What's the next steps to the walk? What's the next steps? Like, we just walked over there and that was it? That was supposed to fix it? I just don't understand.
I equate it to the period of time in Ybor City, when you could go to Ybor City and every part of Nebraska Avenue, that's where all the prostitutes were and all the drug dealers and everything like that was. And as soon as the white population started to realize, wait a minute, this is Ybor. The Ybor Strip is right down there. It's right, the interstate is right there. And they start saying, we need to move back into the city. All of a sudden, the roads start getting fixed. Houses start getting redone. The property value starts going up. Everything is changing. And because they're pushing their way back into the city, which means that's the only time the crime is actually going to be acknowledged. I find it very interesting. The crime is happening all the time, but the crime is only going to be acknowledged when the white people start moving back into the city. Remember, we had that conversation with Mayor Castor, and when she mentioned, one thing she mentioned was that the demographics is changing in that inner city, because inner city used to truly be just Black and Hispanic. Now the actual inner city is actually changing to where you don't even call the inner city anymore. Now you're calling it downtown, because starting with Main Street, the whole projects out there torn down, coming all the way forward. Now you're starting to see, I saw the change when 40th Street started getting the roundabouts. Now 34th Street is getting roundabouts. Okay, when you see roundabouts start getting put in, be prepared to get pushed, for the Black people to get pushed out, because they're coming back in, because they're beginning to realize that Riverview, Gibsonton, Bradenton, Brandon, everywhere they were headed out to is too far. Gas is too high. Let me just come on back into the city, because I can just be here, I can work here and live here, and everything be okay. Because the same houses that you paid $130,000 for it back in 2000 and 2001, once the bubble burst, that same house is now $300,000 in the same neighborhood. How you get a $300,000 house in the Fishbowl area? Help me with that one.
It doesn't make any sense at all, because nothing about the location changed. It's still in the Fishbowl. Like, an affordable housing where? There's nothing affordable about that. So now the affordable housing is going to be on the outskirts, Riverview, Ruskin. It just doesn't make any sense. But again, we as a people are not paying attention to it enough to where we're saying, don't lose Grandma's house. Grandma spent her, you just don't understand what Grandma had to do to even get that house. And just to let it slide through your fingers like that, never. And if you do, Don't sell it to the fly by night, don't have anything vested in the community person. Do some research. There are a lot of people that have been, that are from Tampa, born and raised, that have, still some interest in the community that may very well want to buy it. Think about the long term versus the quick forthcomings in all of it, because we seen what that done to Ybor City, big time. We seen what it done. And right now, West Tampa's currently been hit the same way. Because
Exact
right
same
now,
way.
there's no reason why there's no police officers heavily in the community to a point where some of this gun violence should have got it should have gotten better. It should have gotten better.
And I'm still looking at the comments over here, but you're exactly right, because people will think that, okay, I make a quick $30,000 or $10,000 selling grandma's house, but understand, it doesn't work that way. Once you sell that house, you can spend 10,000. I could spend $10,000 in 15 minutes if I really pushed it hard enough. I could, because $10,000 is pretty much fencing, yard work, redoing the roof. Okay, that's three things. I'm all done. I'm all done. Okay, so
And that ain't enough.
and it still ain't enough. It still ain't enough, because when I'm telling you when people are trying to sell their houses or sell something that's given to you, understand something, people. That's wealth. People are not equating land to wealth, property to wealth, because remember, we are starting so many steps behind. Many of the white kids will get passed down businesses. They're getting passed down entire houses. They're getting passed down money in their bank account. We start with $0 and 0 cents. And
don't forget, Denise, because you brought that to my attention one time when you said that insurance policies. Tell them what insurance policies do. I remember when you said that, I was like, I never thought about it that way, but tell them about that.
Insurance policies also are wonderful things, because think about it. Okay, you have the two pieces of insurance you need to have is your life insurance and homeowners insurance. Because if you have your life insurance and your house isn't paid off, okay, guess what? You can pay off the house, and now the kids get a house debt free. Now your children living in a house debt free. They're starting off at a point where they do not have debt. All they will have to pay is probably the property taxes every year, and just to keep up the maintenance of the house. But you're giving somebody a whole house for free. You have to understand, that's how you build wealth. And then you can turn around, if you're desperate, or if situations call for it, then you can take out a mortgage on the house, or take out a small loan on the house. But people don't seem to understand the value of insurance. People think, if the same $34 or $50 you would spend a month on junk, you could put it towards a insurance policy, and it will secure your family. And that's our problem as a people, because we don't see. If you think about it, if you put an insurance on a car that could easily crash in a minute, imagine the insurance on a house that ain't going nowhere. That is just going to build and continue to build, and then take out that HELOC. What is the homeowners equity line of credit? That right there gives you back money on your house too. So it's like, a lot of times people are not thinking about that. That is how you build wealth. Give your children a fighting chance. That's the bottom line. Give them a fighting. Don't let them start off at 0 point all the time. Let them start off at some point where they have a little something going out the door. That's why I could never understand why, when people are getting a child support check, you should at least take, if you don't take anything, just take $20 off the check. Put that little $20 on the side every single month. You multiply that by 18 years, you let that child walk out the door with something, not with $0 and 0 cents. Come on, just we gotta, like I said, we gotta do better. We really gotta do a little better, because especially $10 a month ain't bad. $20 a month is even better. But if you calculate that out over a decade and a half of time, come on, you making your child feel like they're worth it. They got something to come out of it. So now, let me see what people are saying over here. They're talking about a HUD loan. HCPS meeting was very effective. That's what Gretchen was saying. Let me see what these comments are saying over here. Hi, everybody. Good night, by the way. Welcome.
And leading into what Gretchen just mentioned about the Hillsborough County Public Schools last, what was it called, board meeting. I need the eyes of the owl to roll so hard. Just roll them. Roll them. Roll the eyes. Listen. Listen, people. If you did not have an opportunity to watch last week's board meeting, go back. Go back. Just scoot on in to public comments. Number one, thank you for everyone that comes before the board and speak to the areas of concerns where our children's needs are not being met, collectively, all children. And then for those that are not shameful, fearful, negligent, but speaking for the Black boy that is being hit the hardest when it comes to disproportionate number of suspensions that they're receiving out of Hillsborough County Public Schools. Thank you. Thank you to the board members that follow up and just mention the words about school to prison pipeline because it is a real thing. And now on to my level of disappointment for those that didn't find it conversation worthy while they were sitting on the dais to speak to the situation where those children came forth to share with you their experiences about microaggression, to share with you about the experience of being put out of school and so on and so forth. We know that there are situations where kids will be put in EPIC. We get that. Or for you all that don't know what EPIC is, alternative school settings. We understand that. But we also understand that sometimes, because our disciplinary policy is not aligned across our district, that some children of color, Hispanic females, Black boys, and Black girls will receive an inequitable discipline that their white peers would not have received. Yeah, we can lay out and say, oh, well, this happened, that happened, and so on and so forth. Listen, I keep saying, we keep saying, and collective voices for when we have conversations with other colleagues, we keep saying, we see it, we know it's happening. Now at this point, I'm just trying to figure out God-fearing women, God-fearing man that see these situations ongoingly happening, and your lips stay so pierced closed together that you're not saying anything. Please stop. Stop it. Because none of that is of God. Stop. What if your ancestors never said anything with all the wrongdoings that was happening to us as a people? You surely wouldn't have that nice cush job that you're in now. And cush, not meaning the responsibilities of the job. I'm talking about that good old cush paycheck. All on the back of our children being mistreated. Oh, I almost said what Michelle said. You know what I want to say? Pete.
What?
You know what she said? Look, so we just look. I thought it just did. It almost came out. Ooh. Listen.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
What we doing? Like, I just want to know what we doing. And I think that's why it's not viewed as a level of importance or any type of urgency, or some of our board members don't realize that they too shared while they were on the campaign that all children, we're going to talk about all the issues. Doesn't matter which district.
You have to understand. You have to understand. We can roll the tape back. You have to always understand when you say things, and this society and in this social media that we're in right now, we can always roll the tape back. Please remember that we can roll it back, and we want to hold you. That's the thing. We're holding people accountable to what they say. If you truly believe that you are here for the children, because clearly the dollars don't show it. I mean, what we getting ready to put into what surplus the Rosac building? That let you know we financially we have problems. Yeah, we're doing a textbook adoption, but that's a whole nother story. I'm gonna get into that in a second. But we doing all this and that, but we're not concerned about the children. We have to be concerned about the children's welfare. They're
You know what I
traumatized
want?
right now.
Yes, you know what I want to say too?
What?
We had a full workshop about charter schools. But where has the workshop been on the failing schools, where the charter schools are now interested in meeting the needs of those children that attend those failing schools? Where was the board? Maybe I missed it. Was there a board workshop about that? Oh, but now we want to have a full-blown workshop about charter schools.
That's
But we're not having a workshop about the failing schools or
right.
the transformational schools or
Correct.
the school to prison pipeline or the anything
So
that's directly impacting the Black child more so.
But
Parents, you better pay attention.
right. What concerned me is that you're saying to me that, well, public school has failed a black child. So let's just let this private school come in, this charter school come in, and we're gonna do what the public school system hasn't done. And you really believe that's gonna work?
Let them try. Let them try. Because at least they willing to try. What they got to lose? What they got to lose?
What they got to lose is nothing. What we got to lose is additional funding to try and help the ones that we still got left behind. That's what we got to lose.
At this point, do you think, based upon the actions or the inactions that we've experienced thus far, are they concerned about what, girl? Are they really concerned about the loss? No.
They putting buildings in surplus, getting ready for sale. That's what they're getting ready to do. I would love to see what they're gonna do with that building downtown. I mean, granted that
whoever buys it is just going to tear it down. I'm almost promising, because it's aesthetically not an appealing building at all. They've not done anything to it for.
Where the staff gonna go? If they can go to the schools, we need all the help we can get.
Right. Well, they can run around and fill in when there's a gap, where there is a need.
We need subs. Oh, by the way, we need subs because I'm tired of covering people class. I just want to let you know. If y'all want to go someplace, please go on down there. Yeah, that, as I say, that part. So happy Valentine's Day to me. That's all I know is I'm enjoying my Valentine's Day by myself. I'm actually on this sofa watching all this good TV and enjoying my day off.
I'm watching a series on Netflix called, I think it's called Fiery Lane. Fire Lane.
Firefly Lane. What is that?
Yeah, that's it. That's the name of it. Firefly Lane. It's good.
But what's the premise?
Two young girls basically become best friends after the mom basically goes to grandma's house in her hippie stages of being drugs and alcohol and all that stuff. They come pick her up and move her to a strange place, and she has to learn the community, and I ain't gonna tell you no more than that. It's good.
Okay, all right. I mean, I just want to know. And listen,
and one of them becomes a successful. She either, like, at this point, I can't tell if she's still doing the news or she's a successful actress. I can't quite figure that out because and the other one is a journalist. So yeah, it's good.
So my crazy one for the week is called I Am Not Okay With This, and it's based on a comic book. It's a teenage girl, and she found out she got all these strange powers, and things start happening all around her, and she go crazy, and she writes in a diary. That's all I'm gonna say about that. You know me, I'm a sci-fi person, so that's my for the week. But listen, right, just to throw out a plug out here, because I know we're not gonna be out here too long, because guess what? We got a long weekend too that we're gonna enjoy. We are looking for, by the way, our team every year we do, and we try to do it 3 times a year. We try to do our we call it this time the kids name it the Insta Snack Bags, so in honor of Instagram, Insta Snack Bags. So we're always looking for snack bags. Our goal is always 50 bags every single quarter, or every 3 times a year. So we do it Christmas, which we missed, spring break, and then again at the end of the year. So the bags include the goal of every bag is to have 2 meals, either a full breakfast and 2, actually no, it's 3 meals, a full breakfast and 2 lunches. That's our plan for the bags. So we're always in the look of drawstring bags, and we also need items like microwavable macaroni and cheese, SpaghettiOs. I posted on my page cereal bags, water, juices, things like that. We have been so blessed in the past 3 or 4 years to meet our goal every single time. So feel free to inbox me, and I will tell you exactly where to drop them off and help our kids meet our goals. And plus, the kids who do pack are also receiving their community service hours as well. So that's always an important thing for our kids to have. That's my big ask for the week. What about you, April?
Well, I was looking at something a little bit different that I saw online that another teacher had done, and she did cereal. So what she did was have individuals donate a whole bunch of cereal, because in most cases, kids would eat cereal every meal and have no problem with that. So my ultimate goal is to do the cereal boxes this particular this particular time for them. And unfortunately, y'all, they're not going to like the healthy cereals. They're going to like the unhealthy cereals. And it is what it is. That's their norm. That's what they're used to. So yeah, full size full size boxes of cereal. And my magic number is 25. So if we were able to provide them with 2 boxes of cereal each, that puts it back at 50. So the sweet cereals, the sweet ones. They don't want no nothing that don't have sugar, like Cheerios with no sugar. No, they don't want it. They throw them in the
No
garbage at
special
school.
cake, no
They don't
special
want no
cake.
special cake. They don't want no cornflakes without the cereal, without the sugar. So please, very sugary sweet items, and keep in mind that those things also get them through the week when they're not necessarily going to have meals. The sugar kind of provides that energy for them. So it may not be the healthiest, but it definitely is one that will fill their stomachs, and they can also share it with their siblings in the event. You all would be surprised that these kids know how to ration when it's necessary. They know how to ration. So
Right.
full boxes of cereal.
They put their math skills to use quickly when they know how to divide amongst their siblings. So let me
Yeah.
tell you, I will tell you the top 3 cereals every single time, or top 4 that we get whenever we get the boxes. We get the little mini boxes. It's always Frosted Flakes, Honey Nut
Fruit
Cheerios,
Loops,
Cocoa Puffs, Fruit Loops. Yep, I was gonna add Fruit Loops in there, and then what's that one with the I just
Fruity
lost it.
Pebbles.
Corn pop. The corn pop. Is that what it is? Corn. They
Oh
still
yeah,
make corn
corn
pop.
pops. I
Yes.
love corn pops.
Yes, so those are the ones they love. So if you're out there making the donation, please make sure those are the top ones that our kids really really enjoy. And so that's just a good thing for them. And remember, it just gets them through. We know that times are hard. We just look around in the United States, you see how the economy is. A lot of parents are struggling. So anything that you can give is a blessing. That's what how we look at it. It's such a blessing. And when our kids are filled and their health, or they're eating well, they'll perform better at school. So just keep that in mind for us. So that overall, it helps us on both fronts like that. Okay, so segueing from that, listen, we want you all to tune in Monday, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. We have another great panel discussion. We are now on week 3 of our topics. Let me tell you something. This is going to be so good. Let's just run down the list of who we are. So for our Sunshine Education Coalition has a week 3 panelists, and our topic deals with, well, let me pull up my list real quick. Well, listen, let me just tell you who our panelists are real quick, just to start off with. So we have State Attorney Andrew Warren on our panel. We have Public Defender Julianne Holt. We also have HCSO Mayor Anthony Collins. We have TPD Mayor Calvin Johnson, and Major Calvin Johnson.
Wait. No, I ain't gonna let you sound crazy. Not mayor, major.
Major. I fixed that. Major.
All I heard was mayor. I'm like, who's the mayor?
No, I fixed that. It was I stutter. Come on. Anyway, and then Elvin Martinez from Bays, Florida. We have a fantastic panel that is going to be talking to us about how the state of school to prison pipeline as it affects our children. How is the moral code headed towards that? Why are our children headed in that direction? And it's good to hear from these specific people, because when we think about our children's behavior, we're not realizing that when they get to this state, when they get all the way to the state attorney's office, it's pretty much too late at that point in time. What can we do on the back end, way down here, from elementary and middle school to stop this? So we're so looking forward to this conversation tomorrow. I'm really excited because the questions are just great. So I mean, if you have listened to the first 2 panel discussions, in fact, week 2 was awesome. Week 2 was just like knocking it out the park. We had a gentleman on there by the name of Idris Gaines, and he brought a level of insight to the behavior that our children have, and the way adults react to our children, and how people who are not accustomed to dealing with our children socially, how a lot of times when they talk to our children, they don't get it. But if it's just a matter of them sitting down and spending some time and actually trying to get to know our children, amazing what can happen when you learn to communicate with kids. And that's the part of the biggest problem that we have right now. We don't communicate with our children well.
And the key thing to point out with all of that is we were very intentional about the panel selection. All of the individuals that we brought forth on tomorrow's panel, we have interacted with them before in a meeting. We were with them to set vision, what our overall purpose is, and they understood. And it was surprising to see that mesh that happened on our meetings, to be able to say there was no level of barriers that, immediately stood out with the individuals being on the defensive side. They received the information and agreed that yes, it is happening to Black boys. Yes, it is an issue. Yes, there are some that don't be intentional about addressing the matter, and that's why we need to bring forth these key individuals to the community so that they can hear what currently is taking place in their organizations that you may not necessarily know about, along with having those uncomfortable conversations about what currently is happening. And if we don't, again, be more intentional about addressing these issues, we're going to have a complete lost generation. So we got to do something sooner than later.
That's essential. And then another key thing to just keep in mind too, even though we are having these conversations now, one of the things that we need to focus on is that we need to just remember to try and include our children in these conversations. We got to be talking to them all the time. It's wonderful that we talk to ourselves, and it's also wonderful when we pull in good, as they call it, the good kids, to always be part of any kind of group discussion. But the kids that it directly impacts, who may actually be involved in some of the activities that are happening in the community that are not on the positive side, we have got to make sure that they are deeply involved in these conversations, because we want them to take ownership. We want them to say, listen, I know that people who are doing this. How can we work together to help reduce this, because it is affecting people around you? It's like basically teaching children to have that a situational awareness. Your life is not in a bubble this big. There are other people that the situations that are happening affects as well. You got your grandmother in the neighborhood, your aunts in the neighborhood, other adults in the neighborhood. You might have a little kid that stays down the street that may be affected by gun violence. You just have all this going on. So how can we bring those kids in, and keep in mind, all of them live in this one particular area, and this just truly affects them. It can affect them from school to the home to the community. So just make sure that we include those kids in our conversations.
Most definitely. And I have a Facebook friend that, we grew up together way back when we was out there crazy, living our best lives as, young adults. And he posted on there, hashtag free game, hashtag but I'm crazy. And he has a picture of basically a prison tray of the food. And it's not the most appealing. But his statement is what caught me. It says, I ate everything on my plate for 3 years. Keep playing with them guns and you're going to eat this for life. And it shows the plate, and it just got like some, unidentifiable meals, sections on the plate. And it was like, keep playing with these guns and you're going to be eating this for life. And those are the type of individuals that have some experience to where they did, get in trouble, but they was able to get their lives back on track. Those are the individuals that's your OGs that's still, out there in the community, not to a place where they're doing things that are illegal, but to a place that they're not fearful of the younger generation. They are the ones that's going to have to reel this thing in at this point, in my opinion, because right now they don't trust the majority of the elders, because they see us as so judgmental. For the ones that's not willing to talk to them at all. I don't have a choice but to talk to them, because I'm at the school with them. I'm not fearful of them. I'm just not. And even when I probably should be, I'm just not, because if we don't do something, I just don't. I just don't even want to imagine what it's going to become. To where now there was a situation where, and I don't know if it's connected with whatever it is, where there was a woman that was supposedly shot in the Sulphur Springs area from multiple gunshot wounds. And my biggest fear is this going to become a place where now they're going to start attacking women with all of this? Like, you just don't know. And again, I understand, like I said, referring back to what I said earlier, was that the families are in fear as well. So it's going to take individuals that, have walked that life somewhat, but was able to, take the right path when from at that fork, to where they just then keep going down that wrong path, to where they ended up with a life sentence or in a grave, because the lifestyle that they're living with these guns, that's the only two options. That's the only two end results. If they don't do something intentional to change their trajectory. So yeah, that's what I just wanted to add there. So again, you got some guys that are willing to do the work. They just may not necessarily know where to start. And it realistically just start with a conversation, and it's over with saying that they're going to come to the police, that they're not kind of don't trust them and they don't feel like they can be protected. So it's a lot more behind that story for those that's consistently asking them to do so. The question becomes, why don't they trust you enough to be able to say, yeah, they're willing to do it? So anyhow.
Absolutely, I agree. Because trust is a big part of it, and which is also what leads into why, well, when people call, why do you need all my information? Let me just tell you what I know and let it be that. You don't need to get
Right.
all my information, and you don't need everything about my life in order for me to give you. Now, I do understand there's going to be all things like prank calls and things like that, but if this information sounds valid, if it's especially reporting a serious crime, let it go. Let people just report what they have to report and let it go. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because it's like they're not realizing that regular people live in the neighborhood. Just like we tell the police, do you know that regular people also live in the community, and everyone is not
Yeah,
a
we're
criminal?
not all criminals, because when they
Everybody's
pull
not a
you
criminal.
over, they treat you, when they come to your door, they treat you nasty. Like, you at
Right.
my damn door. Like, why you got an
Exactly.
attitude?
Like
You
I
was
told you that
called
one.
here.
Right. Like I told you that one time they were all stepping through my bromeliads. I'm like, do you know it took me however long to put them plants in the ground? Come on, they only bloom twice a year. Can you get off my plants? Come on now. So like, and I feel some type of way about my plants. You know how I feel.
Yes, you do. You and
You know,
mommy.
I feel about I need a garden around me. I'll be mad when you step on my plants. But it's like that. It's like to pay attention to the fact that they're just regular people who just want to live well, who want to just go to work, come back home, do their community service, and just go on about their life, go to sleep at night and wake back up and have a couple glasses of wine and be happy. Can I do that? Me. So that's it, So just pay attention to the fact, and when you build those relationships with people, that's a big important thing. And that's the police, that's to everybody. Build relationships. People will respond to you better if you treat them like just good people. Not everybody is coming out to be aggressive. People present themselves the way you approach them. If you approach me nice, I'm gonna be nice to you. If you approach me a little crazy, I don't know. I might, hey, listen, hey, I don't respect that. Okay. So, but that's pretty much all we have. You got anything else, April, to share?
No, we just want you all to definitely join us tomorrow in the conversation,
Yeah.
share the information out, because again, it's all free work. Look, we willing to do it. It's all free
Right,
work. And the
right.
work is being done to educate the community on what's happening in the public education system as it relates to our children of color. It's happening.
Okay.
And again, I am truly just concerned at the response of those children at the board meeting. Like, I'm still just baffled by it.
For the
Baffled by
lack
it.
of response, to start off with.
But in our campaign, that's what we were saying. I'm going to fight for the children. The children need a voice. Why are you so damn quiet then? This is April Carr with April's Beauty Bar.
It's the Diva D from Carved Out Divas,
With
and
diversity
we
and
have
education. Go ahead.
diversity and equity.
Equity in education.
We tired, y'all.
I've
Okay,
been napping all day, so yeah, I'm real tired.
right. All right. You have a wonderful evening, everybody. Bye.
You too.